Good morning, class. So, today, aton topic is ang respiratory system naton. So, this is module 18. Kag tingubon, itry ko tingubon ng 18 kag 19. Pero ang 17 is next na lang naton na ang lesson. Okay? So, kay nauna ko himo ang respiratory system. Then, pero aton nga period 3 is consist sa module 17 to module 23. Okay? Pero 18 ini siya, module 18, ang respiratory system. Okay. So, ang respiratory system, ano na siya? So, amo na siya ang responsible for respiration and breathing naton. Maginhawa kita. Okay? Ang ventilation sang aton body. Okay? So, ang process ng aton respiration is ventilation or breathing, which is the movement of air into and out of the lungs and in and out sa aton lungs. And next is exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the air in lungs and in blood. Okay? So, diba ito nga blood, may na siya oxygen, diba? So, need, diba, kay i-transport na sa blood, ang oxygenated blood, ang sa aton different parts ng aton body, di ba na lesson naton sa aton nga blood nga lesson. So next is transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the blood. Next is exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the blood and tissues. Okay? So ang functions gid sang aton nga respiratory system is number 1, regulation of blood pH. Okay, ang function naton sa aton respy. Regulation of blood pH, like for example, when you say regulation of blood pH, like nag-accumulate ang carbon dioxide sa aton blood, you get respiratory acidosis, diba? Which can kill you. If too much carbon dioxide naman ang napagwata, you can get respiratory alkalosis, which can also kill you. So, decrease RR. So, decrease RR meaning na hapo siya, diba? Hapo, nabudlayan siya, maginhawa. That is acidosis. Diba? Ang decrease RR ni siya, ha? Respiratory rate. So, nubo ang pH niya sini, taas ang carbon dioxide, and taas ang bicarb naton. While sa kung taas na naman, ang increase RR naman is respiratory alkalosis. This one, ang acidosis, respiratory acidosis, and this one, taas ang RR, is respiratory alkalosis, meaning ga-hyperventilate. Okay? Mga example yan sina is ga-hyperventilate. So, taas ang pH, taas ang carbon dioxide, and nubo ang bicarb. Okay. So, next nga function sang respy naton is voice production. So, or vocalization. So, ang larynx, ang larynx na, is responsible na siya for our vocals sa aton tingog. Okay? So, kung wala kita, possible hindi ta kahambal, diba? Next is ang olfaction or aton olfactory. Since respy gaginhawa kita, included man na ang sense of smell naton. Okay? Kaya kung hindi kita kaginhawa, paano kita ka simhot? Okay? So next is innate immunity. So innate immunity is body's first line of defense. So first line of defense na siya against intruders. So, mga microorganism, mga bacteria man na siya. So, immunity that is present at birth and last until sa entire lifetime naton. Okay? Until buhi kita. Na siya ang innate immunity. Okay? So, ang aton nga respiratory, ga-consist na siya sa upper and lower respiratory. So, ang upper respiratory naton from the nose to the pharynx to the larynx. Okay? Nose to pharynx, nose to pharynx, and larynx. Okay? So, ang aton lower naman is trachea, bronchi, and lungs. Okay. So, di ba? Aton lower, halin sa trachea, to the bronchi, and to the lungs naton. Kaya mo na siya ang lower respiratory. Okay. So, next. So, ang paano magsulod naman ang air pakad to sa lungs ta. So, syempre, from our nose, ma-inhale kita air, maano siya pakad to sa pharynx, then sa trachea, and then sa bronchi, sa bronchioles, and then sa alveoli. Then na siya sa lungs ta. So, di ba, ang alveoli, ang managid siya ang site of respiration. So, mga tiny sac na sila ang alveoli. As you can see here, aring alveoli, tiny sac, okay? Yung mga clouds ang tsura niya sina. So, ang function gid sang aton nga alveoli is for gas exchange. Gas exchange gid ang alveoli and gasecrete sang surfactant. So, when you say gas exchange, so get oxygen to your body. Okay? Into your body. So, get carbon dioxide away from your body. So, pasulod ang alveoli, pakadto oxygen, pakadto sa body, and then carbon dioxide away from your body. So, di ba? Amo na siya ang gas exchange. So, diri kakatabo sa alveoli. Okay? So, next is secrete surfactant. So, one of the main function man sang alveoli is secrete surfactant. So, surfactant is anti-surface tension. Prevents lung collapse so that you can breathe. Okay? So, ang surfactant, like kung sa mga premature babies, ginagamit ni siya kung wala pa na fully develop ang lungs. Kaya kung wala, di ba? Kaya kulang sila sa surfactant, hindi ka secrete surfactant, so, hindi sila kaginhawa ang mga premature baby. So, ginahatagan sila surfactant in order for them to breathe on their own. Kaya hindi gani ka ila lungs, kaya wala sila surfactant, wala nang develop. Okay? So, aton nga bronchi, gali ha, may main stem bronchi ang tawag sini sa ila. Okay? So, each bronchus or bronchi will give you bronchioles, and when you go deeper, they become respiratory bronchioles. Okay? So, di ba ma-travel? Halin sa nose, pakadto sa pharynx, larynx, bronchi. Di ba? Sa bronchi, then makadto sa bronchioles, ang air naton, then makadto sa alveolar ducts, and then makadto sa alveoli. Okay? Mag-travel ang air. So, ang aton nga nose consists of external nose, visible structure, composed mainly of hyaline cartilage, and nasal cavity, ari ang nasal cavity naton, here. So, nasal cavity, ang color pink ni. Ara siya, nasal cavity na sila. So, ang nasal cavity, so ara ang mga tanan, so extends from nares to cornea. Okay? So, ang structure sang ato nose is ang nares or nostrils. Syempre, nostrils, external opening sang ato nose. And ang cornea wala ko din na drawing. Do sa sulod na siya, nga do sa ngagngag, bala ang duwa ka opening. Amo na siyang cornea. Openings into the pharynx. Amo na siya cornea. As you can see man sa inyong modules. Next is the nasal septum. Ang nasal septum natin is partition dividing the nasal cavity into right and left parts. Amo na siyang nasal septum. Kagang hard palate naton, hard palate is floor of the nasal cavity. So, separating it from the oral cavity. Okay? And ang concave naman, ang nasal concave, iba ang cornea, sa nasal concave, ha? concave. So, ang concave naman is bony ridges on each side. So, bony ridges na. As you can see here, bony ridges. Bony ridges on each side of the nasal cavity increase the surface area of the nasal cavity and cause air to churn, to be cleansed, humidified, and warm. So, ang paranasal sinuses naton, paranasal ang sa front, this one, right here. Paranasal is air-filled spaces within bone and open into the nasal cavity. Resonating chambers reduce weight of skull and produce mucus. So, muna sila ang produce ng mucus and influence the quality of voice. And then, the nasocranial ducts. Ang nasocranial ducts naton, ari siya, diri sa may kilid sang nose, ang nasocranial ducts. So, nasolacrimal ducts carry tears from eyes and open into nasal cavity. Okay? So, ang sneeze reflex naton. Paano kita mag-sneeze? The sneeze reflex, irritation of nasal passageway. Then, makadto siya sa trigeminal nerve or cranial nerve number 5. Then, makadto, masensang signal sa medulla oblongata. Then, ang reflex naton, matrigger. Then, ovula is depressed, exploding air out of the nasal passageway. Then, mga chinata, foreign irritant washes away. Diba? Mana siya. So, ang photic sneeze reflex or ang ACHU or autosomal dominant compelling helophthalmic outburst is stimulated by exposure to bright light associated with complicated wiring to pupillary reflex or pupils constrict in response to bright light. Okay? Mana siyang ACHU. Ang autosomal dominant compelling helophthalmic outburst. Okay? So, ang pharynx naman naton. As you can see here, muna siya ang pharynx. So, ang pharynx compose na siya sang tatlo. Ang nasopharynx, so regions na ha, nasopharynx, oropharynx, and laryngopharynx. So, ang nasopharynx, or ang pharynx or throat na siya ha, pharynx or throat. Nagyatawag. Okay? Pharynx or throat. So, Mera, kita first sa nasopharynx. So, ang nasopharynx is upper part of the throat na siya, located behind the nose. Dira na siya, di ba nose, behind the nose, behind the nose, nasopharynx, ilong, nasal. So, and above the mouth and the roof of the mouth and connects the nasal passages to the larynx and trachea. So, ang function sa nasopharynx is voice production, ventilation, breathing, and infection prevention. Okay? Next is the oropharynx. So, ang oropharynx, middle section naman na sa sangaton throat. Okay? So, located behind the mouth and below the soft palate. Ang oropharynx. Okay? So, next is the laryngopharynx. So, ang laryngopharynx, part of the throat that connects the pharynx to the esophagus. So, ang esophagus, diri na aring esophagus nga part, diba? Diri ang larynx. Muna siya, diri ang larynx. So, esophagus na sa. So, gina-connect niya, diba? So, gina-connect niya ang esophagus and larynx. So, sometimes ang laryngopharynx also referred as hypopharynx. Okay? Referred as hypopharynx ang tawag niya sina. So, functions ang aton nga laryngopharynx is passageway for food, water, air, and contains component that help with speech. Okay, na siya. Next is the voice box. Ang voice box meaning ang larynx or ang voice box located in anterior throat, sends from base of tongue to trachea, consists of 9 cartilage structures. Okay. So, ang aton nga larynx or ang voice box, ang main functions gid is maintain an open airway, protects the airway during swallowing, produces the voice. So, di ba ang larynx, voice box, kag produce ang voice na siya. So, may siya sang 9 regions. Okay? May 9 cartilage structures. So, ang thyroid cartilage, or ang thyroid cartilage na ton, or diratang Adam's apple, largest and attached to hyoid bone. Okay, ga-attach sa hyoid bone naton. So, opens passageway for air movement. And the cricoid cartilage. So, ang cricoid cartilage naman, here muning cricoid. Cricoid cartilage, most inferior cartilage that forms the base of larynx, opens passageway for air movement. And next, the epiglottis. Sorry siya, epiglottis. Ang color red sa babaw, epiglottis. So, this is the anterior and right lateral view ha, sa aton nga larynx. So, ang epiglottis as elastic cartilage protects airway by covering the gluteus as larynx elevates during swallowing. And next, the cuneiform cartilage. Ang cuneiform cartilage, this one, paired on top part. Then, ang corniculate cartilage, sundan na sila, paired on middle part. And ang arytenoid cartilage, paired on bottom part. So, sundan na sila, top part, middle part, and bottom part. So, ini sila nga tatlo form an attachment site for vocal cords. Okay, na siya. So, ang vocal folds naman, di ba ang larynx, diri sa drawing ko, hamba kong larynx, sarada ang vocal folds na ito, or ang ginatawag nga vocal cords. So, ang vocal folds or vocal cords, inferior set of ligaments na siya. Inferior set of ligaments or ginatawag na true vocal cords. Ha? True vocal cords. Okay? Mana siya. True vocal cords. So, primary source of voice production, air moves past. So, causes them to vibrate and producing sounds. Superior set of ligaments forms vestibular folds. Or ang vestibular folds naman, dito drawing sa larynx. So, ang vestibular folds is false vocal cords naman. False vocal cords. Ha, ang vestibular. And then, ang inferior set of ligaments nga ginatawag nga vocal folds is ang true vocal cords. True or false. So, opposite sila. Okay? So, next is the lungs. Sorry. Wait lang. Ang trachea, nilipat. Trachea or ang windpipe. So, ang iya is allows air to flow into the lungs. Okay, ang trachea naton or ang tawag nga windpipe. Okay, ari siya ang trachea. Okay, so we will talk about the lungs naman. So, ang aton lungs, di ba ga-compose na siya sang mga bronchus, aton nga mga alveoli. Okay? So, ang aton nga main bronchi, tawag sina is main bronchi, ang duwa na may right side kita kag left side. So, ang right side nga bronchus, this one, mga bronchus na sila. So, ang right side naton is makita nyo, wider, shorter, more vertical, more indirect line with the trachea. And then, ang left naman ng bronchus naton, more horizontal due to the displacement from heart's location. Okay, muna siya. Muna siya ang bronchus. So, makita nyo mas wider ang sa right side. And then, ang left side mas haba kaysa sa right side ng bronchus. Okay. So, ang aton nga lungs is principal organs in respiration na sila. So, cone shape with its base resting on the diaphragm. So, this one is the diaphragm, ha? Ang red ni Bila, So, ang diaphragm, is, the muscle Okay? So, ang muscle naton, pinaka-important, gina nga muscle, ang diaphragm. Diaphragm is the most important respiratory muscle. Okay? So, if ever ma-paralyze ang half of the diaphragm naton, wala gid problem sa other half ng diaphragm naton. Okay? So, need ta na muscles, ha? So, muli muscles ang diaphragm. So, during quiet normal breathing, bala naton, you only need muscles during inspiration. So, mag-inhale kita. Active, di ba? Inhale. So, need ta muscle. Kung expiration, passive na siya. So, kung mag-exhale kita, no muscles needed. Okay? So, next, 'di ba ang lungs naton? Ay, ang lungs naton, ha. So, ang lungs sa right side may 3 lobes kita. 1, 2, and 3. And diri sa left side naman is may 2 lobes lang kita. 2 lobes, okay? 2 lobes. Okay. So, anyways, so ang aton lungs naman is gina-surroundan na siya sang tawag nga pleura. Okay? Or ang pleural cavity naton. So, balik kita di. So, ang pleural membrane, this is ang green pleural membrane. Okay? So, ang pleural membrane, consist na siya layers. So, may kita parietal pleura, visceral pleura, and pleural liquid. Okay? So, ang visceral pleura, inner. Ang visceral pleura is inner na siya, ha? Sa sulod bala. Sa sulod na siya. Okay? Ang visceral pleura. So, inner layer hugging the lungs, ang visceral pleura. While ang parietal pleura naman, outer layer, away from the lungs but closer to the chest wall, the bones and muscles. Okay? And the pleural cavity sa middle na siya, pleural liquid, sorry. So, ginapatungan na siya sang parietal and visceral, ang pleural liquid. Okay? So, next. So, sa aton nga lungs, di ba, bako gina, may mga makadto ang air sa bronchus to the bronchioles, then mag-go sa alveoli duct, and then sa alveoli. So, ang alveoli, di ba, bako gina, small air-filled chambers, chambers where the air and blood come into close contact with each other. Okay? So, amo gina de ang bako gani gas exchange. Okay? So, amo ni siya ang respiratory membrane, gali. Respiratory membrane. So, formed by walls of alveoli and capillaries where gas exchange takes place. So, consists of 2 layers of simple squamous, including the alveolar fluid and separating spaces layers of the membrane. Okay. So, ara naman sa module ninyo ang mga layers of this membrane. Okay, muna siya mga thin layer of alveolar fluid, alveolar epithelium, basement membrane of alveolar epithelium, thin interstitial space, basement membrane of capillary endothelium, and capillary endothelium. Okay? So, ang mga kita ginatawag magaling nga bronchopulmonary segments sa lungs ta. Okay, so division of each lobe which separate from one another by connective tissue nga itawag nga septa, not visible as surface fissures. Right lung has 10 segments and ang aton left lung is 9. So, wala ko actually sang drawing, pero ang mga gina-separate na sa damo na da separation. So, muna siyang bronchopulmonary segments. Okay, so muna sila ang sa right lung tanan, ang sa left lang muna. Okay, so ventilation and breathing naton. So process of moving air and out of lungs, regulated by changes in thoracic volume which produce changes in air pressure within lungs. So muna sila structures naton. Sa thoracic cavity, volume, atmospheric pressure, alveolar pressure, diaphragm, external intercostals, internal intercostals. So, kung sa inspiration or mag-inhale kita hangin, ang thoracic cavity volume ga-increase, kag kung mag-exhale, ga-decrease. Atmospheric pressure, kung mag-inhale higher, gataas, ang expiration ga-lower. Ang alveolar pressure, kung mag-inhale, ga-lower, inhalation higher. Exhalation higher. Then diaphragm contracts to move inferiorly to expand the rib cage kung sa inhalation, and sa expiration or inhalation relaxes in quiet respiration. Okay, and so on. Okay, so inhalation and exhalation. Kita nyo man di during inhalation and exhalation ni sila ha. Kung anong matabo sila. So principle of physical principles in airflow into and out of lungs. So number 1, changes in volume results in changes in pressure. So as the thoracic cavity volume increases, the pressure decreases, and airflows from an area of higher pressure to an area of lower pressure. The greater the pressure difference, the greater the rate of airflow. So, ang lung recoil. So, tendency for expanded lung to decrease in size during quiet expiration due to elastic fibers and thin film of fluid lining alveoli. So, factors that keep the lungs from collapsing. So, muna siya, bako ginang surfactant, diba? So, importante, ginaang surfactant. Kay, gina-prevent niya nga mag-collapse ang lungs. So, ang plural pressure. So, pressure in pleural cavity normally less than alveolar pressure to expand alveoli, which is caused by fluid removal by lymphatic system or by lung recoil. Okay? So, spirometry. So, process of measuring volumes of air that moves into and out of respiratory system. So, ang spirometer, so wala ko disang picture sang spirometer, pero ang patient nga spirometer nang daw may ano sila bala ginatestingan nila ang ilang lung capacity, bala instrument for measuring the air capacity of the lungs. Muna siyang spirometer. So, ang spirometer, daw tube na siya nga, daw may ball sa sulod. Amuin na siya. Then, ang patient, sinaga-breathe in slowly and deeply sa mouthpiece. Okay? So, gina-hold nila, ilang ginhawa for at least 5 seconds. Okay? Daw ga-breathe in and breathe out slowly. Okay? So, muna siya ang sa spirometer. You can search it sa Google ang sa aton YouTube kung paano ang spirometer gina-ubra. Pero usually do sa mga hospital sometimes sa mga muna may mga problem sa lungs ginagamit niya siya. Ginatesta kung ano gidyang capacity, air capacity sang iya lungs. Okay? So, for respiratory volume, so may kita ginatawag na tidal, inspiratory reserve volume, expiratory reserve volume, and residual volume. So, sa tidal, air inspired or expired with each breath, about 500 ml at rest, and inspiratory reserve volume, air inspired forcefully, about 3 liters. So, expiratory reserve volume is air expired forcefully, about 1.1 liters, and residual volume, remaining air after maximum expiration, about 1.2 liters. So, respiratory capacity. So, total volume of air contained ranges from 4 to 6 liters. So, ang respiratory capacities, may kita functional residual capacity. So, inspiratory capacity, vital capacity, and total lung capacity. So, ari sila ang sa functional expiratory reserve volume plus residual volume, and ang aton nga inspiratory capacity, inspiratory capacity, tidal volume. Makita man na siya di ari So, for respiratory volume sa tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume, then ang vital tidal volume, inspiratory and expiratory reserve volume, and total lung capacity tidal plus residual plus inspiratory reserve plus expiratory reserve volumes. Okay, so first, expiratory vital capacity. So, rate at which lung volume changes during measurement of vital capacity. Okay, so that's all for the first part. So, makontinue ako sa next video sang gas exchange for the part 2 sang Respita.